we are going to continue. So does anyone remember what we learned last week? Anything you can remember? April, what did we learn? Anything from your memory?
I don't really remember.
So how about you, Alexia?
What was the question?
What did we learn last week in the last class? Do you remember anything?
I remember some stuff we did. We did things like
Anything you can remember. That would be good.
it was like death.
Yes. Deaf. Deaf is a keyword. What is it used for? Leo.
Hello?
Yes. Do you remember anything?
We learned about I forgot the name for it, but I think we learned about the functions.
Good. Yes, we learned about the function. So, pattern, what do you remember?
I forgot.
Okay, Ryan.
We learned about functions and like keywords and parameters.
Great. All right, so let me share my screen. Yeah, Kathleen put it like a keyword argument. Very good. So what is a keyword argument, Kathleen? Can you explain?
It like skips the arguments.
All right, so let me share my screen. Very good, Kathleen. You remember that. That's where we stopped. You see here, it's a keyword arguments. So what is keyword arguments? When you call the function and they use a key name, okay? You put the name of the parameter here. Use the ag and the name because we use it. Because we use it. So we do not have to obey the original order of the parameters in the function, right? So this is a parameter name, this is a parameter name. So name comes first, ag second. But you see here, when we provide a value, you see we can provide ag first, name second. Without keyword arguments, you cannot do that. That means always the first value goes to the first parameter, second value goes to the second parameter, right? So remember that. So that's a keyword argument. So what does def do? Kathleen, can you help me? What does def do? Def is a okay pattern.
Is it defined?
Yes. Actually, it's the shorthand for define. It defines a function. So if you wanted to create a function, you use def, D-E-F, okay? So it's the keyword. It is the keyword received by Python. It tells the system Here is the function. You see, if you use diff, and then you have the column here, and everything, okay, from diff until the next line that has the same indentation as diff, the whole thing belongs to that function. It is the function block. Hopefully you have this concept in your mind, and then you know how to use it. And you remember, I want you to pay more attention on this function. And then I will ask you to do an exercise. You know, in the future, you may not have that many opportunity to do exercise. The reason is that we're talking about more and more on concept. Well, we just help you now you're at the level we have the basic skills, and we just talk about the concept, the fundamental behind the Python programming, why it works this way. So with that, we do not have much code to write. We only help you understand why I need a function, why I need a class, why the class is written that way. So that is just some concept. People put it that way. We just follow it, right? You need to understand the concept. Here, we still need to write some code to help us how to write the code, how to write the scripts, right? So then the first exercise I really want you guys to do, come on. So I want you guys to do is that, can you write a function to do this? A company needs to pay its constructors weekly. A constructor is paid by his or her hourly rate, and they always work. HR person needs a function to get a total payment to each contractor. If this person knows the hourly rate and they always work. If the hourly rate is not available, then the contractor is paid in the minimum wage of $11 per hour. Can you help the HR person? Can we write a function that this function can help the HR person to find out how much he needs to pay to that contractor? So let me put this text requirement in the chat window, and I will give you guys 5 minutes to write the function. I will show you the previous slide. That's how you write a function. You see, this is a function. Now we have learned a lot of Python stuff. We have learned a lot. So how can I write a function to do this? Right? If you have any question, you can speak up. You can put your hands on the participants list, or you can type me a private message. Either way is good. Okay. So I give you 5 minutes. Now it's 6:09. We will check at 6:14. If anyone finished sooner, also put your hands on. So I know that you finished. If none of you finished before that, before 6:14, then I will check. Then I will, check a couple students to see where we get stuck, and then I will move on. I will work with you together. Does anyone finished? You have 1 more minute. All right, so nobody finished. Let me check the work, okay? Let me see, April, do you want to share your work to me? Let me stop it. And then
I didn't really know what to do for this.
Okay, then you need to ask me the question, okay? So how about you, Leo?
Wait. I also didn't really understand, but I started with the function and then I kind of just stopped. I didn't really know.
Okay, can I see your function? Do you mind to share it to me?
I kind of deleted it. I was trying new stuff and I don't really know how to bring it back. Is there a way?
Okay, that's okay. So how about you, Ryan? Ryan, you get anything?
I just finished.
Okay, so give you 1 more minute. So how about your pattern?
I don't know if this is the correct thing or not. Like, I don't know if this was like the correct, like this, if this is what's supposed to run.
Doesn't matter. The purpose of this exercise is just to, give you the opportunity to write a function independently. If it's wrong, it's wrong. That's why I'm here, and that's why this is the class. Do not worry
Okay.
about it. Can you share it to me? Okay, so this here you do not get the total pair, all right? So you get the name. We do not have to have the name. Actually, we just wanted to help the HR person to calculate the total, how much he should pay to that contractor. I will help you to write that. Thanks very much, Patton. Hunted, do you get anything done? do you want to share it to me? Hunter.
Yes.
Okay.
I have something. Let me just
Yeah, just
share
share
my
some.
screen. I don't know if this is right, but I'll share
Don't
it.
worry.
So
Do not worry. If
um,
it's right, it's okay. Oh, you are doing better. Okay. Yeah, you're almost there. So if we combine your function, then you are almost there. Okay. Very good. Thank you, Hunter. Good job. So how about you, Ryan? Now can you share yours to me, Ryan? You finished? Very good. Wonderful. Can you explain this to the class?
So basically, hourly wage is equal to the input of what is your hourly wage, and the hours worked is equal to the input of how many hours did you work this week. And then I converted each of those variables into integers so that for the function, it would it would be able to return hourly wage times hours worked. So then I printed out the contractor will be paid this amount of dollars. So I converted it back to string because if not, it would return an error.
Outstanding work. Very good, Ryan. The only thing I want you to add is that can you, in the function, can you put the hourly wage equal to 11? Because that is the default value. If the HR person does not know the hourly wage of that person, then he will need to use this one. And then one more thing we need to change is that you need to put the already worked as the first parameter because good, because you know the optional parameter should be in the end. And then when you call the function, you also need to change the order of it. So you do not put it in line 7. Line 7, when you call the hourly wage, yeah, you need to use work the first and then hourly wage. Very good work. Thank you very much. So let me ask the class. You still share your screen, Ryan. So let me ask the class. Do you have any question on this? Does this make sense to you? So let me ask April. Does this make sense to you now?
Yes, it makes sense.
Okay. So how about you, Alexia? Does this make sense to you?
Yes, it makes sense.
Very good. It's actually just ask you to do a function, and len 1 and then len 2 is good enough. It satisfies the requirement. And Ryan, thank you. You did a lot more than that. You asked the human resource person to type in the hourly wage, hourly hours worked, and also you printed the total out. You are going like a mile beyond. That's a very good, wonderful job. Thanks. You can stop sharing now. Very good. So we learned how to do in the function, and then we learned what is the default value for a parameter, and we know what is an optional parameter. And I showed you the screen of the keyword arguments, thanks to Kathleen. And then now let's just go to learn a little bit more. Okay, let me share my screen. So This is something I should say advanced. You may not see it much, but when you do Python, you do a serious programming, and you do data analysis. Then this is a very, very, very common. And what is that? You say you have a star, or we say asteroid, Argus, and then asteroid key word Argus in the Python function. So what does it mean? So sometimes you say function like this, examples below, okay? So def, my function, then you see this, and you see that. What does that mean? And you will say print, okay? And print keyword Argus. So what does this mean? All right, so let me go to the next slide. So can I get a Kathleen to help me read this one?
What do args and chords mean in Python function? Args is used to pass a variable number of arguments to a function. This is for a non-keyworded variable length argument list.
Very good, thank you. So what does it mean? It means you do not know how many parameters here. It may be 0, it may be 1, it may be a lot. You just ask the user who use your function to provide whatever they have. Why do we use this? Why do we use this? Right now, as I mentioned, you may not run into it, but in the future, if you wanted to send a lot of values to that argument, you see today's condition, so you could have temperature, right? You could have a perspiration, and you could have like a humid reading, right? So all those things you really don't know how many that the user will provide. Then you just let the user to provide those, so you use them. So that's why you see for in the bank, okay, you may have today you may have like a 0 customer, you may have like 3 customers come in, you may have 100. So that is why if you put the asteroid and the Argus there, that means here is a parameter. It may have a lot of parameters in it. Okay, it's an argument list. So let me give you an example. Okay, I will show you the example so you will understand it more. So what a asteroid Argus provides is to pass in more arguments than the number of formal arguments. Okay, defined in function with the Argus, any number of extra arguments can be tacked, okay, on to your current formal parameters, including 0 extra arguments. So this is an example. And then this is a statement to call this function. So let me just give this to you. Okay, let me give this to you, and I want you to run it. And hopefully you know what it meant. Okay, you see I have a function. The function name we called a var fun. And you see you have the asteroid, and then this is the name. Okay, you cannot give it a different name. That's okay. You see, but you have the asteroid is there. So the asteroid told the system that there may be more values coming in. Okay, you see now when I call this function, you see I give it like a 1, 2, 3, 4 value. You only have one argument. Why I give 4? Because you have the asteroid there, so that means the system understands it has meaning. It has meaning, right? It may be 0, but it could have many. So now let me run it, and you see what I got. Let me just run this one. Okay, let me run this one. You see it prints the value 1 by 1. It prints the value 1 by 1. You see here, I give the value as do, it prints out. I give the value u, it prints out here. All right. Does this work for you all? Does it work for you guys? So you know you put a 1 asteroid there. It means there will be a lot values coming in this position. So this implies one thing. Okay. Can anyone tell me what it may imply? Just take a wild guess. It implies you can only put this in the last of the parameter list. You cannot put it in the beginning, cannot put it in the middle, because once the system sees this, okay, all the values you pass in that position will belong to it. So if you put it in the beginning, then all the parameters after this one will be ignored. The system will not know it. The system will not know it. Okay. So that is why it is always in the end. Okay. So if you use the asteroid in Python, it means this variable, it can be looped through it. The system can iterate over it, run some high order functions such as a map and a field, okay, etc. So we will talk about those later on, right? So let's try it. Use the asteroid argues to write a function that can take in any number and add them together. The function will return the sum of all numbers in the August list. Okay, let me give you this. Let me give you these requirements. Now I want you to write another function. These are requirements. Okay. And then now let me go back to this example. I want you to write a function. You will return the sum of all the numbers. Okay, I give you 5 minutes to do it. What do you need to do? You just do very small modification to this one, and then you will got it. Right? It's 6:30, and then we will do it. If you do not know what I ask you to do, you need to speak up. You have to, or you need to type me in the message. So I can help you, okay? Anyone finished? You also can put your hands on the participants list. We will learn how to write code. Okay, good. Pattern you finished. Let me give the class 1 more minute. Okay. Okay. Okay, I can help you. Okay. Do not worry if you do not know how to do it. Well, but once we finish there, I want you to make sense out of it. Okay. All right, so let me stop sharing. And the pattern, can you share your work to me?
Okay.
All right. Okay. So you are doing this actually when you call the function. And here, actually, the value you pass in is just one value. The implementation you put it here actually is a very good example, though. So what I want is actually you pass in a list of values. I will come back to yours. So let me just check if other students finished it. So how about you, Kathleen? Do you get anything?
Not really.
So how about you, Alexia?
Not really.
Okay, Neil, how about you?
I didn't really. Well, not really.
Right? Okay, so Patton, can you share yours again? So let's finish it together. Okay. So let's do it together. So on line 3, okay, on line 2, can you hit return before 4? Before 4 in the beginning of this line 2. Line 2. No, line 2. Yeah. Okay, now in at line 2. Go to line 2. Put it like a total equal to 0. Okay. All right. Now you in this loop. So what you put total plus equal to total TOTAL. Yeah, you can copy that total and copy it and put it here. And before this, yeah, assignment sign, put the plus there, plus sign, add a plus sign. Okay. On the right hand side, replace 0 with arg. Okay. All right. And then in line 6, you indent it at the same level as 4. So indent it. Okay, you just type in return total. And you don't need the parentheses, just put a return total. No parentheses there. Yeah, good. So the only thing now you need to do is that you just put a space before total at line 2, because the indentation is not consistent. Indentation for that line, so you need to put one more space there. Okay, now it's good. So now, now you do it. It will be very good. You need to print it out. You put the printer in the line 11. Yeah, just print. Yes. And whatever you just had. var fun, right? var fun. And then all those values you just got from the user. You need to have a list of that. No, that's not enough. You need to stop running it. So you need to just put it what you had before. So var fun parenthesis x comma y comma z comma q comma. No, not like that. Parenthesis after var fun. Yes. Okay, now put x comma y comma z comma q comma. Now save it and then you run it. You will see you have the total. Yep. Type in the number. Does it give you that, right? So that's how you do the sum. You add them together in that function. And in that function, before you know what you get, you just print them one by one. But now I know this coming will be numbers, so I add them together and store them in the variable called total. So that's what we have. Does this make sense to you now? Leo, does this make sense to you? Good.
Yes.
All right. So you have a question, Patton?
Wait, what was the total plus or equal to arg for?
All right. Can anyone help me on that? That's a very good question. Kathleen, do you remember that? What does it mean? Plus equal. Anyone remember?
Plus equal means you're like you're adding something to like a variable.
Very good. Leo, you're right. Plus equal actually means here you can rewrite that then, okay? So you remove the plus there. And then you put the total on the right side as well. You write total, total, TOTAL plus arq. Okay, it means that. So you just omit total, so you write it that way. It's a short form. It means if you use a plus equal, actually it's a plus equal, that means you use your left side variable to plus right hand side, and then assign that result back to the variable. Assign it back to that variable. So as the left side variable plus the right side, and then you get the result you assign to the variable on the left side again. If it's a minus equal, that means the left hand side minus the right hand side and assign it back to the left hand side variable. And if you use multiply, multiple, or use a division, same. That means the same. You just omit the left hand side. You do not write it anymore on the right hand side. Does it make sense? Very good. So now let's move on to the next slide. All right, we just learned the asteroid argues, right? So what does this do? And if we learned that one, this should be very straightforward. So let me get April to help me with this one.
KWARGS is used to pass a keyworded variable length argument list. The double star allows the system to pass through keyword arguments and any number of them.
Yeah, you say you use asteroid argue. That means you just pass in the value. Just pass in the value. Okay. It may be multiple, it may be 0. Okay. But if you use asteroid, and you use KW argues, the name you can give it in a different name. Okay. Use a different name. You can use a different name. But this means what passed in is a keyword, the value. The keyword argument, the value. So what does it look like? It should look like this. Okay. You say I call that function, I pass in this one. Sorry. This one. And this one. And this one. Okay. So I pass in these 3 keyword values. Actually, you do not have those parameter names here. That's fine. You know, the function may use your keyword argument here. Okay, so let me give you this example so you will see how it works. And let me give it to you, and you can print it out. You can print it out. So let me do it here now. Okay. So let me run it. You say this is the format. I'm going to print it out. And you see here, you just use the key value. What is key value? Key value comes from here. The key value that is in the keywords items. Okay, that is in the keywords items. If you change the name for this one, then you change the name here as well. You just match this to this one. So that means double asteroids here means in the keyworded arguments. Okay, and hopefully this is straightforward to you. And I'm not going to do more on this because you already practice on the astrological arguments. This one should be very straightforward. So I'm also not trying to read this anymore. And it's very similar to the arguments, okay, asteroid arguments. And the last thing we're going to learn today, okay? So I wanted to mention this one, okay? You can treat the keywords, okay, as a dictionary that maps each keyword to the value. So that's a dictionary, okay? So now let's just learn the last topic we have today. So the anonymous function is not declared in the standard manner by using the diff keyword. So what is the anonymous function, right? The lambda keyword is used to create small anonymous functions. Therefore, it is also called a lambda function or lambda form. What do you mean? So let's just do a little bit more lecturing, and then I will show you an example. Actually, this is the syntax. So lambda form can take any number of arguments, but return just one value in the form of an expression. They cannot contain comments or multiple expression, just one simple expression. So this is the syntax. The syntax of lambda function contains only a single statement, which is as follows. Lambda, this arguments, and then this expression. You could have multiple arguments. You could just use one, and then one expression. All right, so let's see an example. You see, this is my lambda function. I put a lambda here, and I have argue1, argue2, and this expression, argue1 plus argue2. And you see the column here, right? So you have to have the keyword lambda. Well, that's why we say this is a lambda function, or it's a lambda form. It's also we also say it is an anonymous function because you are not using a diff, and you do not have a function body, right? But you see you do have the arguments. You can have multiple, and this is the expression, and you assign this to this variable, my function. Then you can see we can use it. My function 1020, my function 2020. So 10 will be assigned to argue1, 20 will be assigned to argue2, and let's see what we got. So let me give you this code, and I want you to run it. Lambda function is very popular because for people who wants to be short and quick, they will just write lambda function. They will just write a lambda function. All right, so let me do it here as well. We run it. You see the first one, it prints out 30 because 10 plus 20 is 30. Second one, print out is 40 because 20 plus 20 is 40. You see, this is the expression, and it will be assigned to this variable, and you can directly use in this variable. All right, so let me ask you, does this make sense to you? So Ryan, does this make sense?
Yeah.
How about you, Hunter?
Can you explain the last bit one more time, please?
The last part? You mean this expression?
Yes, please.
It is just an expression. You will use a value from this argument and that argument, and do this expression. Here is a plus. You just add them together, right? You could do this. If I change this to times, you see what we got. Let's run it. And let's change this to minus. See what we got. You see, I use times, I get 200, 400, right? If I use a minus, what do I get? I get a minus 10, I got 0, right? So that is just expression. You use this expression and to evaluate to get the result of the values of these two, and then you can use that result. And you see this result is stored in the math function. And the math function, you can treat it as a function here. You have the function name, you have the values, or we see the argument of values you pass in. All right, so let me ask, so April, does it make sense to you?
Yes, this kind of makes sense to me.
All right, so Alexia,
It makes sense.
All right. So if you do not get it, you can try to read more Lambda function, Python Lambda function. Hopefully that will help you more. Okay. Let me just move on. I think that's the last topic. So I have an excess, but I may not be able to get you finish that. Let's just try it. Can you help the HR person to create a Lambda function for her to pay the contractors? Okay. All right. So let me do that. Lambda function, let me just put this. Okay, let's make it called my pay. And okay, I will just use this 2 times because it's always, it is always times the hourly rate, right? My pay. My pay. So this is the Lambda function I need to use. Okay. These are 2 values. This expression is the hourly rate times hours you worked. That's the pay you get. So let me run it. You see value of the total. Okay. That's what you have. So that's the excess. All right. So let me just move on. I think I have 3 quizzes. Let me get you guys to do that. Okay. So can you type in your answer to this question, everyone? So what is the output of the following code? I got 3 answers. I want more. I got 4 answers. I need 3 more. 2 more. All right. Let me give you the code. This one, I think you can run it. Let me just give you the code. The right answer is you find out. All your answers are wrong. Right answer should be 15. That's A. Right, go ahead and run it. Now, why it is A? Because you have one function, this out function. In the function, you nested another function. And you see in your out function here, you call the in function. So you pass in A and B, that is 5 and 10. And the 5 and 10, you add them together. That's 15. You get 15 here, return it. And now this is the 15, you return it. So that's why RES is 15. Okay. All right. Remember, you cannot directly call the inner function. We're talking about that because it's nested in this function. It's not visible to you, so you cannot call it. Only the statement within this function can call that function. Okay. All right. So next, which is true for Python function?
Can you put in more than one answer? Or is it just one answer?
I'm sure it only has one answer. I got 3 answers. I need 4 more. 5. I need 2 more. Let me check who has not done it. Okay. All of you get it right. Good job. It's A. Why B is not right? Not all functions return a value, okay? You can return a value, you do not have to. All right? The last one, select which is true for Python function. Let me do a separate here so I know. Select which is true for Python function. All right. So B, theoretically, it's impossible, but it's also not wrong. You see the asteroid arguments, right? So you can have multiple values passed in. But of course, you cannot put an unlimited number of arguments. If it's too many, how can the system process it, right? So this YC is also possible be right. So when we see multiple values, that means actually say values in a list or values in a tuple, that's a multiple values, right? So D, okay, it does not return anything. It does not return anything. Only if you have the return statement in it. So D is right, right? So C looks right, looks like a right, can return multiple values. But usually it's just one thing there. Then you see why, why A is not right. Because it cannot return a value. You don't have to. All right, I think that's what I have. If you guys like to do homework, I can write the homework, give you a homework. Write a function that can take any number of string, and it will return the longest string to the caller. Then write the script to take user input for 4 inputs, and then get the longest of the input. Okay. So let me give you this homework to do, and I think Ren also did something in his access, and the pattern also did something in his access. The only thing now is that you need to add a logic in your function, so you know which one is the longest. So that's a little bit of work to you. I want you guys to work on it. because it may be the not many opportunities for you to write Python scripts. Now we are going to do more and more on concept. Okay. Let me return the class back